Good evening, everyone. That was one hell of a howl. Oh, the comments. Oh, it's Todd. Thanks for the apples, Todd.
They were excellent.
Everyone, we've got about 3 people, so I'll go ahead. I'm working on an intro video, so in the future, it'll look a lot better. Welcome to the Wicked Women of the Paranormal tonight, guys. Hey, Robert, how you doing? My lovely sister Leanne has joined us tonight, as well as our little para baby Haley to co-host. And we have Paranormally Blonde, Sarah and Dee Dee, who are 2 kick-ass chicks, in case y'all didn't know.
That's
Oh,
right.
Miranda, hey girl, Sherry,
Miranda.
hey Nikki, how y'all doing? I knew we could count on Miranda. I think we all share the same love for her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, then there's Sheila Brown, who would be like, no, I'm her biggest fan. So it is what it is. I appreciate you joining me tonight, guys. I've missed y'all. I ain't got to talk to you since the show.
It was a great show. What a lot of fun that was.
It was.
Oh, yeah. We had a good time. That was truly sisterhood.
Which I think it carried on like 2 more hours. Dee Dee had to leave. And then I think our call went on for 2 more hours, maybe even more. I don't know, 2.5 hours, I think.
Yeah. It was great.
I think I finally had to go feed the dogs or something. I was like, I gotta go.
The cat was mad. The cat was like, get off here, Mom.
I know.
And that's pretty much what my son sounded like. Like, how long are you going to be on there?
Good conversation. It was a good conversation.
Yeah. So, well, I guess we'll just jump right on in. We've got a good following in chat tonight. The lovely Sherry, who is one of our biggest supporters, is in there, and she's there for all of us. You know, she's family, and she is a big part of supporting the women in the field too. So I'm glad she's going to get a chance to see you guys tonight.
Awesome.
If y'all have any questions in chat, hey Emma Jean, how you doing? Please, if you could do them in all caps, that would make them easy for a old blind lady like myself. So we'll go ahead. I want to start off with, when did Paranormally Blonde start? Because I know you two merged together at one point.
Well, Paranormally Blonde is a new venture for Sarah and I. We've only started December, but we were on a podcast together, A Haunt Mess, before that for a year. Yeah. So
I was trying to remember which one it was. I'm like, I know that one. But I know both y'all guys have been in the field for a long time.
Sarah has. I've only been around for about 5 years.
That's still a long time.
That's still a long time. I mean, well, okay. Let me get this straight. So I know, Dee Dee, you've been doing podcasts for quite some time.
Just the podcast I did, Haunt Mess, was the first podcast. I'm a hostess for Haunted Hour on Twitter. Okay. I've been doing that for 5 years.
Yeah, well, that's close. That's a long time for that.
Yeah.
I mean, most people can't even stay on for 6 months. Like, I wanted to quit after my first show. I'm not gonna lie.
She's got a great, and her following on Haunted Hour on Twitter is amazing. And there's always some new, there's the traditionals that are there, you know, and the faithfuls that are there, but she's always got, you know, with her topics and her polls, she always gets like new people coming in and interacting. So it really, to have done it for 5 years, I agree, Beth, like it's really, she's done a great job, and she keeps it fresh and keeps it going. And that's why it's successful.
Yeah, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to go on.
Aw.
I'm not good at this at all. I'm just not. And I don't know anything about the paranormal.
Do any of us, though? I mean, that's why we do this, right? This is the whole point of talking, you know? We're just spitting it out there, and you know, and I think as long as we can all kind of keep it humble. I mean, you know, for myself, like I've been in paranormal for 20 plus years, but to be honest with you, my first time was doing Haunt Mess along with Dee Dee and Courtney, and I'd never done anything like that. And I think that it just kind of made things, it kind of just opened my eyes a lot. And so when we kind of got to this point where A Haunt Mess needed to end, Dee Dee and I were like, we're just not done talking. Like, we still want to talk because the conversations are great. And I think that, you know, what is really great is I'm hearing more paranormal people, in my opinion, that are coming out with, they're a little more humble, that, you know, hey, we don't all have the answers, and let's have the conversation. Like, yeah, we get it. We all want to come on and we all want to say, this is what it is. I know the answer. This is what ghosts are saying. But the reality is none of us really have the answer. And so to have these open conversations, you know, that's key to me. And I think Dee Dee and I have been really lucky, even with the Haunt Mess podcast, but especially with Paranormally Blonde, you know, people have been so supportive, and guests are so willing to come on and have those conversations. And I feel like they've all said, you know, during the podcast at some point, you know, hey, I don't have the answers. This is just theory. Let's talk about it. It's like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. And that's what it was all about. Like that. We're not done talking, and we're all looking for the same thing. There are no experts in the paranormal. They're just not. And I hate when I see paranormal expert. Since when? When did they create that?
Well, and maybe with social media, you know, I think we've been saturated with talking at people, but I think where Dee Dee and I really wanted to go Paranormally Blonde was we want to talk with people. You know, it's a conversation. It's not a lecture. So I think that's a really important aspect of paranormal right now is, okay, we've all added each other. We've all thrown our, you know, our weight around. And so now it's like, you know, I just want to talk. I don't want to offend you with my theory. I don't want to offend you if I don't agree with you. Let's stop taking it personal, because nothing that happens in the paranormal is personal to you. It just isn't. You know, we're talking about something that none of us have solid proof. So let's talk about all the different theories, and so many new things are coming out and new ways of investigating, and let's talk about that stuff. Like, you know, so hopefully that is something that will endear people to Paranormally Blonde, that, you know, we obviously have our opinions, I think, Dee Dee, right? Like, I think we have our opinions about things, but, you know, we want to be open, and I might have an opinion about something, but I am sure as heck not going to say that you can't change my mind. Obviously you can change my mind.
True.
You know?
True.
So
I mean,
that's my
and I think that's the part of it though, too. You know, just like when I was on y'all's show, and then seeing other people on your show, it is a conversation, and we respect each other's opinions, and we want to, hey, I have this opinion, but I'm interested in hearing yours and what I can take from it. What can I learn from you? That's how I look at every conversation.
Yes.
What can I learn?
Right.
I think we just had a conversation with somebody else about how to do different, the guy in Australia, how to do different things in different locations, and learning. You know, you definitely learn from each other. I get so much out of that, you know, just listening to, you know, how people go into locations, you know, and investigate.
Well, absolutely. Right. You would have probably, you know, I'm sure. And especially with shows like yours, and, you know, anytime anybody's willing to just come on and chat about it, for me, the more casual setting where, like you just said, if somebody's doing something and it's, hey, I like to do this when I'm at this specific location, it might have not even been something I'd even thought of before. I mean, we do get set in our ways. And I think the longer you go into paranormal, I think we get set in our ways, but it's a roller coaster, right? Like I say this all the time. There are days that I really, really believe in it. And there are days that I'm thinking I might be completely wrong. Maybe I don't believe in this at all. And then I go back to, no, I believe in it. So I think that's kind of, you know, where these conversations can take you again, and being open to it, right? Like we can't just say skeptics are not open-minded. We also have to say people who believe 1,000% are also not open-minded. I mean, we need to see all sides of it. We should look at the skeptical side and the side that proves, as much as you can prove, that paranormal exists.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We all agree.
Yeah. And that's very rare. So that's why I'm like, well, damn, we all agree. I don't know where to go after that.
I solved all the world's problems. Look at that.
There you go. Well, y'all, good night. I'll meet y'all at the bank. We're all going to go on a paranormal road trip.
See, it took a blonde. It takes a blonde to get this. How many blondes to solve the world's problems?
Well, and Robert wants to be blonde. He wants to join the blonde gang.
Come on.
She was blonde.
I love him. I love him. I love him. He's awesome.
He can be an honorary blonde, right?
Yeah. Come on, Robert, be an honorary blonde. I was blonde a time or two, and I got into a lot of trouble because it's true what they say. Blondes do have more fun.
We kind of do. That's true.
I had to remember who I was there for a minute. I'm like, oh, my bad. Well, and I think anyone who has the chance to be on your show would be very lucky.
Aww.
Well, it first off, it's a wonderful platform just for anyone. You guys make people think. And a lot of people don't do that. It's very engaging. And, you helped me go back and revisit why I started doing what I was doing to start with. Oh. So by the end of the year, I am going to go ahead and I am going to do a Wicked Women of the Paranormal documentary.
Oh, I love that.
And I would love it if you two would be a part of that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Absolutely.
Miranda, you guys, Chris, Leanne, our girls. I think that's what I'd like to do because Leanne has been there for me the whole time when I told her what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go with it. She's been supportive the whole time. And, I hadn't even thought about it. And then when you were like, so when are you going to do a documentary? I'm like, well, crap. I completely forgot all about that until they brought that up.
Well, we're in such a great time of, I think just in existence, right? Like there's such a boom of feminine energy. And, again, I think I stated on the show when you were with us, Beth, that I am not in any way, shape, or form a feminist. I am all about honoring my counterpart. So I love the male and I love the feminine, but just feminine power and strength and energy in general, there's such a boom right now. And, that could go a couple different ways. I think women in paranormal, we could be wicked and not a nice way. I think we can turn on each other very easily. And I think that if we can kind of try to combine those energies for the good and not competition wise. And that's what has been really strange to me. And Dee Dee and I have talked about this. There's been so much paranormal drama as of late in social media. And, this is just not a time for women to go after each other. We say, oh, women, and let's lift them up. And then we turn around and, we don't lift them up. And so hopefully Paranormally Blonde will be that space, not just for women, but for men, for anybody in paranormal, but that we can, whether we agree or don't agree or whatever, there's space for everybody in paranormal. This is a big world.
Yes.
It's not tiny. So
we turn around, claws out all the time. And what women fail to realize, and I'm very fortunate. I have a lot of brothers that I love dearly, but they're supportive of all of us. Mm-hmm. So I've been fortunate in that aspect. What we as women don't understand when you're watching shows on the paranormal, when you see a woman, how many of them women that are well known are actual paranormal investigators? They're all either psychics, mediums, whatever, or people being interviewed. There are no strong lead female paranormal investigators on TV.
Right.
Not trying to take away from Katrina or any of those, but that's one.
Yeah.
Amy, that's two. Everybody else, we have to get out there and be like, hey, there's a place for us too. You think that there's spirits only talk to men?
Right. Yeah.
Just saying.
I think too, you know, I don't know if, you know, like when I look out at the women that I admire investigating, you know, Dee Dee, you know, you might have only really been focused on it for 5 years, but the reality is, you know, Dee Dee goes out and does this really by herself. Yes, she'll have her husband with her and stuff, but she goes out and she takes the initiative to investigate by herself. And these are and I know, you know, we don't, and same thing with my team. It's myself and my two sisters. You know, we don't share a lot of stuff publicly, mainly because I don't think I want to maybe get it ridiculed or torn apart or picked apart. And it's not that I can't hear anything negative. I can, but after a while, I'm not in competition. So it's not worth it for me. But, you know, I think it's one of those things where, you know, there are so many of us out there that are doing it and not doing it for entertainment purposes. You know, we're doing it because it is something that truly interests, you know, our curiosity, you know. And I think when I got to meet Dee Dee through a haunt mess, and that is how I met her through Courtney, was our commonality. It was really cool that she really sparked kind of a newfound, and it can get kind of old, right? Like 20 plus years, you kind of start to feel a little bit, I don't know, it gets a little stale. And she kind of sparked that, my why, and why I started, why was I feeling that I was curious, because she's got such a great, and she's so like good about being open. I wasn't as open before I really probably talked to her, because she'll say something and I'll fight it a little bit. And then I walk away and I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, I should probably think more about that. You know, kind of like our conversation with orbs. You know, I kind of really felt one way about orbs. And when she brought the show up, it was like, okay, this is great. Like, she's got such a great curiosity that it kind of helped spark that again for me. So I think there are lots of great people out there doing it alone, strong women. And you know, if there were a show, I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Dee Dee? If somebody could follow you around, do you feel like that would that lose something for you? Like, do you feel like you wouldn't be as authentic with your investigation?
Well, I mean, the trouble with having people follow you around is that I like to go into a room by myself. So if there's a camera crew with me, I'm not alone. And it does, in my opinion, it does affect any kind of interaction you may have. Because I mean, who, if you have strangers coming into a room with cameras and gear and lights and all this stuff versus just one person with maybe a telephone, you know, doing EVP session, that's a lot more mild. And so I feel like, you know, I mean, I personally would not let them, I would try not to let somebody change, you know, what's actually going on. I mean, I don't know what kind of control you do or don't have, but I think that I probably wouldn't get the results I get just because there's all these other people there. I think that for me, ghost hunting should be kind of a quiet, personal activity, you know, that you can share with somebody, maybe one person. Like I said, my husband, obviously, you know.
Well, I think it should be more like, and when I say shows, I think, thank you, Ernie, if that's you that said I shared the heck out of it, but might be Jason.
Thank you.
I think those kind of shows, instead of, you know, like your standard, like one female that I failed to mention who I absolutely love is Rochelle Stratton.
Yes.
I love that chick. I think they should be done how Miranda does things. Not everything has to be the pony show. Miranda has the right idea. She really does. I love the way she investigates and the way her show is filmed.
What did I say?
No, sweetie, I knew he was going to come visit.
What did I say?
He just wants to be on the show. It's okay.
We have verification. It's me, the Prez. So yes, it's Ernie.
Okay. All right, Ernie, president.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you having your bachelor party right now, sir, while you're watching the Wicked Women of the Paranormal?
Well, what better way to spend your night before your wedding than with a bunch of chicks and some blondes? I mean, that sounds like the perfect bachelor party to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's working. He's probably sitting there like, I'm tired. I see Beth every day. I'm tired of seeing her damn face. And before I forget, my sweet little Parababy sent me a Mockingbird Paranormal shirt. And it matches my hair, purple. So hopefully they're watching. Oh, I love you, Miranda. You know that. That's my girl. Yeah, I think, and that's another thing. That's why I love talking to y'all. You make me think. And I think if you do that for me, you're doing it for other people. It's just like Miranda. You make me question, like, okay, am I looking at this right? I want to do more.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not see it. It's just y'all are very, the way you talk and the way you interact, it makes me want to do better.
Aw, thank you.
I mean,
cool. I don't know if I've been accused of that, but
I've been accused of a lot of things. Some of them are true.
But I will take that compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you've helped me, Sarah. I mean, I could say all kinds of things, paranormal or otherwise. Sarah's brilliant.
You're so sweet.
No, it's true. You have literally like done things that have changed my whole way of thinking about life itself. So there you go.
This is like a big love fest. We've got like, and I didn't even pay Dee Dee. I mean, you know what? I think this has been what's been really, I think, for me, and I actually had a conversation with Miranda today about it. You know, having to have this opportunity to work with Dee Dee, you know, when A Haunt Mess kind of ended, you know, it was like, it was something I was going to miss in my life. I think, you know, this wasn't anything I ever aspired to do. It wasn't something that I'm not a broadcast person. I'm not a productions person. I'm just Sarah V. I'm just a chick, you know? So I think, you know, when you meet that person, you know, I think our energy and our chemistry is authentic. You know, we live in different states. We've never been together physically. We hope to very soon someday. So it's a really, you know, it's been such an honor and such a great opportunity, I think, just to grow as, especially women working together, you know, and when Paranormally Blonde kind of, and it happened fast, right? It was like A Haunt Mess was kind of over and we were like, bah, like, what are we going to do? So, you know, Paranormally Blonde was born, and it's been a great opportunity because, you know, I think Dee Dee and I work really well with the creativity of the show. And there's not a lot of bells and whistles. It's not like we're doing all this crazy production stuff. But I think coming up with the guests, coming up with topics, because we do want to dig a little deeper into each paranormal topic. You know, I've never written, I'm not a writer, so please everybody be kind when you go to our blogs, but you know, to be able to have that chance to sit down and to continue the conversation after the show's done, which is just another step into making me think a little further into my why I have the opinions I have, right? And writing these blogs have been such a great opportunity to go, wait, why do I think that? And sometimes I've had to realize that I've come to those thoughts for no good reason. Like, it's just because I was being either lazy or a jump judgment or whatever. So, you know, I think these opportunities to work with somebody like Dee Dee and to have this opportunity to continue on, you know, hopefully it's a trend for women to realize, like, you can totally work with people. Dee Dee and I don't agree on every theory in paranormal, but I think just to be able to bounce that stuff back and forth and not take it super personal, or, you know, that's been to me, that's been a real godsend with the show. And so far with any women we've had on the show, we've just been really surrounded by great souls. Really, I can't really say that enough. And
you would think y'all have worked together for years and
a year and a half.
Your chemistry is there though. Like, but you know your people. You know your people.
Yeah, definitely.
You recognize.
Well, you know what? And I think that, you know, I think we have to just be honest about, you know, what your intention is going into some of this stuff, and check yourself. And, you know, I think, you know, Dee Dee and I have been very open about, like, if you don't like something, or if something's bugging you or whatever, you just got to say it. And we've got to really strip off that tension of, you know, I can't hear that from you, or I think there's no competition. I mean, we're in this together. There's no competition as to what it is we're doing. We're a team. It's a team effort, and we support each other. And I think, you know, that's what we need to see more of all together in paranormal, not just the women in paranormal, but just, you know, we need to stop with the constant, you know, you're a fake, you're doing this, you're that. Like, just, can we just like, if somebody wants to fake, I say, okay. That's
right, because it'll come out anyways. You don't need to point it out. It'll be obvious.
Yeah. And that's their integrity,
Absolutely.
right? Not mine. I don't need to worry about it. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much. I mean, I think the topic of paranormal, there's just so much we can discuss. And
it doesn't have to be who doesn't like who, and oh, they're a douchebag. Well, you're a bitch. So I mean, I'm just.
Well, you can say that behind the scenes, right? Like, not everything needs to be public. Like, I think that there's probably lots of things we can discuss. I think we're just scratching the surface, right? The surface of paranormal. And Dee Dee and I, we've had some guests that we've had before on A Hot Mess that we've rebooked for Paranormally Blonde, but we've tried to think about what that guest brought the first time and then take that subject and dig a little deeper. Like, we had Kevin Killen with Ghost in Me, who wrote that book, Ghost in Me. And a lot of his experiences come out of his workplace. So we were like, let's talk about paranormal in the workplace and exactly what that means. I mean, there are a lot of things that we should be discussing. And, I think sometimes we get stuck on those few topics. I don't know that we've had too many topics about demons. I feel like we have a lot of other conversations, maybe one or two where it's been a more negative, but there's so much to dig into. It's like that merry-go-round, it's like, it can be bigger. It can be much bigger. There's a lot more topics out there. So hopefully, we can keep those coming.
Right. Because I want to talk about new things constantly. And sometimes one topic leads you into a whole nother thought process, which opens up more topic ideas, and it just keeps building on itself. And I look back what I believed a year ago as opposed to 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and I'm like, wow, I'm like a different person on what I believe and think and how I approach things. It's amazing, really.
Absolutely.
And that's all from all the people we've met and talked to, and people I've researched and watched. And I'll watch different paranormal shows and I won't remember who it was, but I'll watch it and I'll get something out of it, an idea, or a lot of times it's topic ideas for haunted hours. I'll see something and I'll be like, oh my God, that'd be a great topic,
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many different, like, people don't realize there's subcategories to everything.
Oh yeah.
Well, even when we did the show on orbs, that really that show was born because it was like, why? What, okay, we talk about orbs and we fight about orbs. Why do we believe in orbs, right? Or why don't we believe in orbs? So that's kind of, I think, there are other, that onion, there's lots of layers. And, I feel bad. I know Emma, I just read, I don't know if she's asking us or if she's asking you, Beth, about the paranormal music box.
I think she's asking us all. Emma is a sweetie. She's a big supporter too. I myself, I know that the Sheilas from Southern Paranormal, they have a music box. I've encountered it and someone else. I feel like what I encountered, they were a good tool.
I have no idea what a paranormal music box is.
It's almost like I would say it's a REM pod, basically, Leanne, right?
Yeah.
What you say? That is a music box, and it plays like the little music box with the ballerina.
Okay.
It's like that. So if something,
I need that.
it's really cool.
Are these easy to find?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know where she bought hers from, but we actually used it at the Monroe House in Indiana. And it was interesting, it wasn't a whole lot of activity, but just using it for the first time, just to try out something different. Yeah. And, and we've had it actually turn on, and, it's surprising, because just, using different things, just to see if something's going to work, something's not going to work, just testing it out. So, and that's what we normally do when we go places.
It's motion activated.
I think there's
motion activated.
A couple of different kinds too.
Yeah.
So if I look these up, this is something, if I look it up, it's It'll be easy to find.
Yeah.
It might have to be a show topic. I've never ever heard.
Yes.
Of,
Yeah, I should get my husband to make one. Because my husband likes to make the different, he made his own SLS and he made RIM pods for me and everything. So now he has something new to make.
Yeah. And by the way, anyone who knows or anyone who's watching, Wicked Woman, Paranormally Blonde, both shows, if you want us to test out your equipment and have forums on your equipment, send us a message. We'll make it happen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is a good idea, Robert. Robert says he wants to make a paranormal Jack in the Box.
That would be cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Good. Thank you.
Eileen says you need a gremlin RIM pod. Okay, like if that's a real thing, does anybody know about that? Eileen, we'll talk about that later.
Mm-mm.
Sounds interesting.
Because
I'm
I think where is it? Ghost Stop might have them.
Oh,
They
okay.
seem to have everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
And-
either that or Paranologies, maybe.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Is St. Augustine's, is that still a ghost equipment store?
I'm not sure.
Oh, Sheila said. Okay, so Mama Sheila said next time we use the music box, we're going to put little Sheila on it, twirling like a ballerina.
Please do. Please do.
And I will send that footage to Paranormally Blonde as soon as possible.
I am very interested in this music box now. I've never.
It's really cool. And I had never, I'd seen them, during people putting their investigations up. But the first time I actually saw one was when the Sheilas had theirs. And I was just like, ooh. And it worked. They put it at the end of the hall. And I was like, do I hear that? Am I here? And it was, I was like, oh, hell no. I didn't know if I was excited or scared to death. I didn't know which one it was.
Well,
Yeah.
that music just really sets the ambiance, right?
Right.
Yes. It was extremely, at this point of the program, it is time for Beth to go outside and smoke a cigarette.
Well, and I think at the point that we started hearing the music from the music box, we had so much weird activity by that point.
Right.
It was just, that place was on fire that night. And, and when you start hearing this music, we're like, okay, where's this kids' music coming from? So all of us stop, and then you hear Sheila go, yes, the music box. And I'm like, Sheila, I didn't even know you set that out.
So you almost use that music box as your own, you almost use it as a trigger item on yourself. Like if you think about it, some of these things we set up, it elicits such a reaction inside you and your energy changes. And there's something so sweet about kid music and baby voices until you're in a haunted location and then suddenly it takes on a whole new, so really, if you think about it, like I think that music box would be a trigger item for me because I think that would really stir up a bigger, I don't want to say emotion, but reaction or that creep factor a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You triggered yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a whole, that's a whole nother show. Joint venture. Miranda, you come too. You have, the Midnight Wolfpack girls, we'll do that. And we'll do equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And I'll bring it. I have a girlfriend who is a nurse who is excited to help me on some paranormal stuff. So we'll have her take vitals and stuff like that to understand what's going on. I'm a big believer in understanding what the living body is doing during these things and the reactions and the cause, the cause and effects, because I think a lot of times what we might be creating might not be paranormal at all, but it could just be something that the living energy is producing. So, which could be, I guess, paranormal in some people's minds, but it's not of the dead. So, right. Like I'm always curious to know, right, if you go into an investigation hungry, or if you go into an investigation nice and full, or there's so many different aspects, I think a lot of times we lose that. So we'll have my nurse come too, so she can take vitals and keep us honest.
I even thought about wearing a heart monitor during
Yeah.
investigations.
Right.
No.
No, if you have a Fitbit, right? If you have a Fitbit or
Yeah.
something, right, that can track your pulse and your stuff, your heart rate.
Or you know what would be even, never mind, that's for another show.
Uh-oh.
Do the brain waves, because
Right.
a lot of people get sent home with that. Like I myself have been in the hospital where I had to stay when they put all those leads on my head, but they do have people that have to wear them for multiple days to collect data. What about doing an investigation with those on?
Did you guys ever watch one of my and I don't watch a lot of paranormal shows. I'll just put it out there. I loved Entertainment Paranormal when it first came out, and now I just maybe Paranormal Caught on Camera is about the only one that I give time to. But when the Lowe's Files came out, I loved every single thing Rob Lowe did with his sons, every single thing. And they did a prison. It was in Idaho, but I feel like it was more north that they were. But anyways, they did that where they hooked up to monitors and they had to sit in the dark. And I think while the other one would say like, I see something behind you, they'd freak that person out and they would monitor. There was a nurse there and I want to say they were doing the brainwaves and everything. And it, to me, like I'm thinking to myself, because Rob Lowe has done this stuff with his boys forever, which is something I've done with my children since they were little. I took them on we called them mini adventures. So watching him do that, they were really, to me, that was probably one of the best paranormal shows. If you haven't watched it, you have to go see if you can find the Lowe's Files. That show was amazing. Some of the things they thought, I don't know if he thought of them himself. I mean, somebody could have, come up with that for him and then say, hey, do this, but it was really interesting to see. And again, just to see just how much stuff you can cause yourself to react to, even if it's not there,
Yeah.
It's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Mine would be like, if it spoke like Alexa, it'd be like, oh shit, Beth, your heart's beating too fast. I'd be like, okay, time for me to go, guys. Y'all enjoy the rest of the investigation. And Miranda was saying that she wears a heart monitor.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Miranda, we love, Leanne, the Estes method is her shit. It's just, she loves it.
Yeah.
Well, I did what Miranda did, and I did it with the dowsing rods. And it's amazing. That's one of the things, though, like I said, learning from other people. And the experience. So, I mean, there's so much to consider.
And the Estes is covering your ears and your eyes, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I've done that. That's an interesting experiment. I saw that on, was it Hellier? Yeah. And I started looking that up and I'm like, oh, we have to try that. We tried it at the Cosmopolitan Hotel and it was really interesting to hear, because you can't hear anything that's going on. And so then when you listen to the playback, you're like, wow, that fits. That's so weird. And the feeling you get, like you start to pick up a different tone of voice, like it's not your own tone. And it just makes you feel a little different. It's a really interesting, like physical experience to have contacting the spirit world, That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. We actually did one at Octagon Hall in Kentucky. And we stayed, there's 3 stories at Octagon Hall. So we had a group stay upstairs and we had a group stay downstairs. We stayed in the middle and my husband would write down the answers to all the questions. We would want to hear what the upstairs would come up with. And then we would hear what the downstairs would come up with to see if they would come up with the same answers. And a few times they were hitting on the same answers.
Wow.
And I mean, blew us away because I was like, okay, y'all, that was just unbelievable,
Yeah.
See, then I would want to know, when you're in those situations, do we somehow connect universally through those moments where, again, when I say paranormal, I'm speaking of ghosts, not the topic of paranormal, but, so where it becomes less of a paranormal experience and more of something that, becomes where we connect And especially when you're focused so hard on questions that you know, right? It's kind of like when you do a distant Reiki session, you know, you're taking two different people and they're actively trying to connect. And so you get those moments where when you go back after your session and you speak and you're like, okay, like that's some validation. And it is a crazy, again, see, I always go back to paranormal has just taught me so many amazing things about our living, walking beings. You know, like we are just amazing beings. And so that's what to me makes the paranormal or the energy or soul that walks off after this body is gone even more amazing, you know. But I don't think we give ourselves enough credit as the living about what we are capable of.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. And I think Ernie is bringing up, we were at the Old Stone jail and my husband was doing the Estes method. And Ernie actually had a old gun and it said, all of a sudden you hear my husband say, cock. And he pulled back the trigger and then he shot it. And it's right before he shot it, it went bang, bang. My husband said bang, bang.
Wow. Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Strange, you know. And so Ernie looks at me and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? You know, and my husband Todd, he comes out of it and he's like, did y'all get anything from this? And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, yes. I said it was amazing. So, you know, I don't know. I love the Estes method. I get, you know, we've gotten so many crazy things out of that, you know, and I'm kind of like you, Sarah, you know, it makes you wonder, you know, like, you know, between, you know, humans and stuff, like, could it be us, you know, just, I don't know.
And you're so like, yeah, and you're so vulnerable when you do that or the Gansfeld, right? Like you are so vulnerable to just being open, and you know, it forces that vulnerability in that moment where, you know, maybe you would be open. I mean, maybe we force things when we are too distracted and we have an expectation, right? And I feel like with the Gansfeld or the Estes, you know, I mean, you might have an expectation, but I think your brain is scrambling to figure out since you deprived it. And I think that's just an interesting moment to really look at, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's so many different things. I've even told everybody, I really want to push the envelope this year. I want to try a whole lot of things that I haven't tried. I want to make it a point to listen to what other investigators have to say, try their experiments, let them know what my experience was using their experiments.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's important to, you know, hey, you had this happen. This is what I had happen. And maybe you shouldn't do that.
Would you be willing to, and I, this is one of my favorite questions to ask. And I don't ask this necessarily on the show, but I've asked some investigators this question and I've posed this question out there through my team is, are you though willing to work with a team you don't agree with? Like even theory wise or investigation style wise, would you be willing to try to step out of the comfort zone? And,
yeah,
we have. So, because I believe that you can't really say that and I use this very loosely because apparently it's a bad term in the paranormal community. Let's call it parafamily instead of para-unity. Okay. How can you say that you believe in that if you don't practice what you preach? So you have to be willing to work with everyone. If it doesn't work out, you tried, but maybe you might find that they're misunderstood or maybe vice versa.
Yeah. That's just like anything. When you have to meet somebody for yourself and get to know them and who they really are, you can't go off of, I mean, you could say references, but you know, you still want to, I mean, I want to meet everybody and you're only going to be with them a short amount of time. So it's not like you're going to marry them or something, you know? Yeah. So it's just a
or you will. And Todd said it best. Yes, with protection in place. Yes.
Well, I was just curious because I think, I won't speak for anybody else. I just think when, sometimes, especially when you're really into something that you've been working on, if it's a theory or a certain investigative style, it's hard to be unbiased about something. So when you see somebody else's work and you might go, like, here, full disclosure, I don't do demons. I don't use the word. I don't use it in my investigations. That absolutely does not mean that I don't believe in negative energy. Absolutely positive, negative, always. But the word demon is not something that I use. I don't use a Christian narrative in my investigating. So would it be something that I could step into, be unbiased, and be open to an experience? I don't know if I can answer that question honestly, because one, I don't know how deep I don't know that I've ever stepped outside something that I've really not agreed with to try in an investigation, right? But I would be curious just how unbiased, or how, can we drop those beliefs? Can we, I don't know, step outside of ourselves and our egos for 5 seconds to say, okay, I can give this a try. I'm not saying, and are we afraid and do we not try it because we're afraid that if it came out that that person was more right, would we be like, well, crap. now
Very
I've been
valid
wrong this whole
point,
time.
Sarah. Very valid point. I think I try to I'm so accepting of like other religions and all just other people's views, that I can do that because I'm like, I've done it,
Right.
I don't necessarily, I'm pretty well versed in Norse, Native American, Christianity. I try to be, so, because you never know what you're walking into.
Right.
So I try to be as open-minded as possible. And Leanne knows the head gesture that I give when I'm just going, this is complete crap. I don't know what this and it's only because I'm just knowing at the moment what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
But you do make a very valid point. People probably don't do that because they're afraid what they think they know is not
True.
what they know.
Well,
Food for thought. This is the Paranormal View with cool chicks.
well,
Yeah.
as we like to say, we know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. We just have to be humble enough to admit that, right? We just have to be able to say, I really don't know what I don't know. And, I have no problem walking in. A lot of times when you use the word demon, and especially if you say you don't do them, or you don't believe them, you don't do them and believe in them, it can really cause some big emotions. And I think, again, we take those comments and you suddenly make it sound as if I'm attacking your beliefs in your religion, and I'm not. You can't also discount my 20 plus years of what I've done and what I've experienced. Now, if you've only seen demons in your investigations, in our house, we like to say this: if you encounter an asshole, you might have met an asshole for the day, but if all day you're encountering assholes, you might be the asshole. So you can kind of say the same thing about, you might say the same thing about demons. In my opinion, if all you're finding are demons on your investigations, you might want to reconsider what the hell it is you're bringing to these investigations, or what your views are, So maybe I'm being naive.
That is so true.
No,
you need to go to an exorcism. We got to find an exorcism to go to. Well, I'll send you.
Maybe I can hook that up for you.
I will accept that challenge, Dee Dee, but
maybe you'd be interesting,
You know what? It is interesting subject to me for sure. I think there's so many little, as you said, Beth, subtopics within that topic that you can discuss. That is not a one just demons. I mean, it's like demons and then point after point you could go into. But I would be interested because I think, the person, and especially if it's somebody that feels they're inflicted, and again, I think sometimes we forget like what their belief is, because, sometimes what you're seeking is seeking you. So we have to be careful about how much power we give those beliefs. And, Again, I think that's one of those things that I love about Paranormally Blonde, because it does force me every week when we pick a topic to really think, like, why am I thinking that? Why did I start to think that? And what can I shed from that belief to maybe dig a little deeper? And everybody's on their own paranormal journey, and everybody's and there's no right or wrong place to be at. But I think that's kind of where, it's nothing personal to anybody else. It's not a dig to any team. It's not a, it's
No.
just not, it's not a dig to anybody's experience. But, if I need to respect your demon experiences, then you also have to respect that in 20 plus years, I've had absolutely not one negative experience.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And that's true.
and maybe it's the way I look at things. I don't know. Maybe I don't attract that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that I'm so special, I don't attract it. I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking, maybe I'm scared as shit of it and I ignore it. I don't know. I really don't know.
That's part of the process. I mean, that's just like going into a location. You've got 10 people saying, oh, look, it's just a old building. And then you got 5 people over on the side going, what the hell is that?
Right.
Who just touched me? Did you hear that? I mean, it's different. Different people pick up on different spirits.
Right.
One might want to communicate with you that doesn't want to talk to me, and vice versa.
Right.
I mean, but it's all about respect. If you can't respect someone else's opinion or belief, you're not as good a person as you think you are.
Right. And maybe not so much. I mean, I know we like to always say we need to be giving the respect and be respectful, but perhaps we could even take it a step further and just say, how about work on your own self? And I don't know, don't get offended about everything. How about you don't even have to be
butthurt.
Exactly.
Maybe since it's the only thing we can control, I mean, we're going to always see something in paranormal that irks us or bugs us, or we would never do that or whatever, right? I mean, that's just life. And, at some point you have to ask yourself, like, why the hell is it bothering me? Like, why does it need to bother me? It's not affecting my investigation, right? Like, it's not affecting what I'm doing. So why do I need to?
I love that question. Why is it bothering me? I've used that as a tool for life in general. Why did this just bother me? And you soul search and you know why. And it's good.
Yeah. Well, it makes you dig a little deeper into, again, like, what is it? I mean, if I were to say, Dee Dee and I are working on Paranormally Blonde, and boy, we only get this many views, and why don't we have more subscribers? Then I have to stop and ask myself, like, okay, what is it that's making me so upset about that? Yeah, there are some people that have tens of thousands of followers and subscribers, but you know what? It doesn't stop the things that Dee Dee and I get to accomplish and to learn and to research and the wonderful people we meet. Those numbers don't mean any. I mean, of course we want to share in the world, and we want people to come and join us because we want to keep the conversation going, but it doesn't stop us from what we're doing. So, I think that sometimes we just need to remember, like, why do we get so? And again, you can have the reaction, perhaps have it and let it go. Like, you don't need to make a big deal. And whatever that sound was, it's freaking me out. Did a car just go by? It sounded like a demon.
Not like a car, yeah.
It was a demon. It was the demon starting its engine.
Yes, it's because Dee Dee said I'm going to a freaking exorcism. And then all of a sudden, that sounded really ominous. I don't like that.
She has my fabulous Whataburger cup, just so everyone knows.
Oh,
My heart belongs to Texas.
I do. I don't go anywhere without it.
And it was so funny because she was drinking her drink, and this was after the show, and I was like, is that a Whataburger cup? And I only saw like this much of the cup, and she was like, why, yes, it is.
Everybody knows the orange stripes. Absolutely. See, representing in Michigan. A little bit of South.
Look, this
What
is
is that place? Everybody talks about that all the time. Is it a hamburger place like McDonald's? Or?
Yeah. First of all, it's not like McDonald's, so take that back.
No.
It is more delicious than McDonald's. Yeah.
Yes, there is no comparison to McDonald's and Whataburger whatsoever.
I would even, and I've never been to an In-N-Out, Dee Dee, but I would even venture to guess it's better than In-N-Out.
I don't know. I'd have to try both. In-N-Out's pretty damn good.
That's right, Todd. A double with double cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Mayo and mustard. Yes.
Now I'm hungry for a burger.
Me too.
It's a problem. If there was such thing as a state restaurant, Whataburger would be the state restaurant of Texas. And it's just the truth.
But it would kind of be a toss-up between Whataburger and Chick-fil-A, which I am working on my Chick-fil-A cup now, so I can represent Chick-fil-A.
How is the Chick-fil-A cup coming?
Well, my sister, who was very sweet, gifted me a crick cut machine. So let me just tell you, the Chick-fil-A has been crick cutting out of there like crazy. So there'll be a Chick-fil-A sticker on everything.
Oh, Lord. And see, it's funny because you're from the home of Whataburger. I'm from the home of Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah. Both my favorites.
Yeah.
Both my absolute favorites.
But see, the wonderful thing is, okay, well, in Atlanta, we have the original Dorf House, which is open 24 hours, people, except on Saturday because, you know, it's closed on Sunday. So if you're in that area doing an investigation, you can get Chick-fil-A all night long. If you're in Texas investigating, you can get Whataburger all night long.
24 hours a day, baby.
Yes. See, we're teaching you investigators something tonight about investigation food.
Oh, well, I'm food driven.
Investigation.
food freaking driven here. If there's food, I'm there. Well, not only do I have to eat before, but I have to have food with me there. If I'm locked in without food, I panic. Absolutely, hands down panic. Have to know that there's snacks of some sort. So
Sarah needs her snackies. She needs her snackies.
Yes, this is why my ass has been on a Peloton, because you can't eat that way all the time.
She sounds like me walking around with the jerky in my pocket at Octagon Hall.
Yeah, it does.
You know,
Anybody want some jerky?
They do say that affects some of your experiences in paranormal. You have to be very conscious of your blood sugar and your adrenaline and all the other chemicals that run through your body. So FYI, we should do a more on paranormal.
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting is I never eat before investigation, so I'm usually starving.
Oh, do you drink a lot of water during your investigations?
No, because I don't want to have to go to the bathroom. So I tend to just like no food, no drinking of anything, and even like a couple hours before. So I'm kind of like,
okay, that's
cleared out. So maybe there's something to that, why I get pictures. And I don't know.
Now, yes, how do you feel? How do you feel after, Dee Dee? How are you? Like, do you feel paranormally hungover?
Like I'm gonna die because I'm starving.
Like, do you ever feel like a hangover, like an actual physical hangover?
I did when I went to Binion's. I felt really bad afterwards, but not every time. No.
Well, we need to make sure we should do an experiment where you eat like I do before and during, and see if you get
what happens.
Yeah, just see if there's any, because I did one investigation where I chose not to eat and I didn't drink the entire time. And I actually the next day, and it wasn't even that serious of an investigation. It wasn't anything super hard but the next day was probably one of my worst paranormal hangovers, and I could not control it. I mean, like I had like the chills and my body just felt almost like you're coming down with like a flu. I was achy. My throat was really not sore, but like you'd been screaming at a concert all night. Like just that whole, my eyes burned. It was like, okay, I won't ever do that again. So I'm surprised you don't feel, I think, worse if you're not drinking and have something in your stomach.
Yeah, that's a great experiment.
I would do the same thing when I did makeup, though. I wouldn't eat beforehand.
No.
I just, and don't drink. And that's just like
you shut down.
I mean, when I worked in an office for 8 hours, I would, have lunch, but I always had a light lunch and just like a breakfast bar or something. And then I would eat like at night.
Oh, Dee Dee.
So.
Well, if we investigate together, we're not doing breakfast bars. We're going to have to eat real food.
Hey, Chris, thanks for joining us. Yeah, we got to get together, Chris. This is going to be, we're going to have to do that. And we're going to have to do, like I said, I'm working on getting a round table together, a couple of different ones for just, us guys, and then one for mixed company. We'll work that out. So, we've got a lot of good, women in here, especially for people like Haley to be able to look up to and, get advice from. That's the one thing too. We got to make sure that we are giving the right advice and setting the tone for what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's why I'm glad, that was one of my other things for doing what I'm doing. Like you guys said, it doesn't matter how many views you get, how many people you got on, you're doing what you love.
Right.
And that, that's what's important to me. I may only touch one person, but if I've touched one person, I've done my job.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So, Haley,
don't-
you want to ask a question?
Nope.
No.
I cannot think of anything.
It's
You
hard
see,
when
I'm
you're put
trying
on
to
the
prep
spot.
her.
Haley, I'll ask you a question then. So you're new to paranormal and you're going to be joining a team. So what is when you think about why you want to investigate, what is some of your intentions that you like? Is it for your own personal exploration? Do you have questions about afterlife? Like what is something that really stands out to you about your why you want to get into it?
Well, I think I mainly do it because like the people that we always surround ourselves with when we do ghost hunt stuff, they feel like my family.
Mhm.
So to me, it's kind of like watching a movie on the couch with my family. But instead, Beth is saying, oh shit, the whole time.
Right,
And
right.
she was shaking me.
Yeah.
And Zach's being his advice. It's a lot of memories. It's the memories for me. And then afterwards on the ride home, me just being like, what was that?
Yeah.
So,
you know what?
mind-blowing
I
experiences.
think that's such a great intention or reason why to start, because when you think about it, it just opens up it's like you take your phones away from your face for just that amount of time and you connect again. And it doesn't matter what the subject is that's connecting you, right? It's like being around the dinner table again with your family and you're interacting and you're bouncing some ideas off of. And I think that's an amazing reason why to even do it. I mean, and I'm sure like everybody's why it will probably have ebbs and flows as to why you do and you don't. I mean, I think that's pretty normal and natural for most paranormal people.
Yeah, and to me, like, even though we have had to come in contact with like lots of stressful situations, it takes your mind off of like bills and regular living, so it just puts you in a different experience. And like you said earlier, it makes you learn so much more about what life is instead of just you working and paying and getting a house. It's much, much more than just that.
Right.
And that's why I like it.
I think that's a great reason.
Yeah.
Look at my baby. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. This is very awkward for me.
Well, just remember, these two lovely women are family too, honey.
No, they're great. I just don't like being live on something.
That's okay. That's okay. It's going to happen. You're around the Black Wolf Paranormal and the Wicked Woman. You're going to be on live. You're going to be on film. You got to get used to it.
And this is what you should really like, the live situations for me. My first live was not paranormal. So, and I did it alone and had people do just the comments and stuff and then did it paranormally. I think after my first one that I did by myself, outside of paranormal. And you know what? Like, honestly, the thing that I love the most about live is this. Look, it's raw, it's real. Sometimes we say shit we don't necessarily mean to say, or we say it and afterwards you rethink it. And to me, when we get live and you don't have to edit it and make us, because we're not perfect humans, we're just not, and we misspeak, and as much as we want to be para unity and a para family, we talk crap about each other, and it happens and it's out there. And I think that we really, that live moment, I don't know. I like the realness of live and to know that, look, we're just going to say it, just say it. And, be mindful. It does teach you to be a little bit more mindful in the sense of, the more lives you do, you're like, okay, well, I shouldn't be too free thinking. I think I've, in a few lives, have had my strong opinions just fly out like they often do.
Understood.
But, I think you get addicted to it after a while. I always love the opportunity when somebody offers to go live and to be able to share just those conversations and, you know, I don't know. I like the rawness. I like the realness of lives. I think they're fun. And if you know, those questions will come to you. And a lot of times, you know, they come to you after the live is over and you're like, crap, I should have asked this.
Every time. But that's what I love. That's what I love. We're not, like I commonly say, and I'll say it in a nice way tonight, people. What you see is what you get. Just period. I don't want there to be any misconceptions. I am a loving human being. I love people. I will help people the best way I can. But if you want to, you know, I don't handle stuff on social media, but I have no problem dropping a dot on a map where I'm at if somebody wants to come see about me. That is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the real part of this is raw and uncut. That's why I love documentaries over television programs.
Absolutely.
I want it to be the true everybody. Do I get nervous? Every time before I go on, I'm doing this. Shit, do I want to do this? Maybe not. Maybe not tonight.
Right,
I'll do it tomorrow.
Right. Well, you know, I think too, you know, sometimes obviously, and I'm guilty of it, right? You can go to my personal Instagram page and I have very filtered pictures of myself there. And, you know, but I love these moments because I am straight up like got home, jumped in the shower, threw on a hat, and that's it. No makeup. We're just going. I'm just doing it because I'm not going to put something forward and have people, you know, if I one day, if we get to do something really cool, like a Paracon or a cool roundtable live, like I don't want people going, what the hell? That's not at all what I thought she looked like because I saw a lot of filtered pictures of her. You know?
Yeah.
It is what it is. So, you know, I think it's just good to be real for a moment. And, you know, we often in Paranormal edit and have our little productions put out there for everybody to see. And that's why I do love Chris and Miranda. And I know there's so many other teams, and I'm sorry that Chris and Miranda are always the first on my mind, but it's because I really interact with them the most. But, you know, it's like they do their productions, but they also do lives. So you get the whole package, you know, you get to see the entirety of who they are and the realness of them along with their shows. And sometimes, you know, when you see a show like, you know, Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters or whatever, I mean, those are so edited and they're so produced that you forget that, I don't know, that might not be the real deal all the time. So, you know, we're unedited, by the way, on our Paranormally Blonde. Yeah. Although we do tape, we can honestly say the only editing is the introduction and the outro. So
yeah, it's great. It makes it so easy.
Yeah, we don't cut and paste. So if there's mistakes, you know,
yeah, me either.
We keep them in.
By the way, let me go ahead and add this disclaimer in here. The views of my guest and myself are not necessarily the views of the Midnight Wolfpack production.
Especially Sarah Bean's views. I take full responsibility for my views.
I take full responsibility for the fact that I might be that asshole.
Hey, we all have opinions, right? Nobody's special.
Oh, this is what I love. Now, you know we're going to have to do this again.
Absolutely, anytime.
And I'm going to start going ahead and putting that together for the women's roundtable. And we're going to have to, like I said, like I told you last time, we're going to have to do a lot of stuff. I mean, I absolutely love both of you. You know, you make me think. I always have fun. I always smile, no matter how bad it is. After I've talked to y'all, even after a message, I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this today. So I will let you all drop, you know, where everybody can find you. Because like I said, I am no good at Twitter. Dee Dee is going to be my Twitter tutor, guys. So I'm getting it together.
Yeah, so you can find Paranormally Blonde every Friday night on YouTube, 8 p.m. Eastern time under Paranormally Blonde. I take care of the Instagram, some weeks better than others. Dee takes care of the Twitter for Paranormally Blonde, and we both do handle well, let's just give the credit to Dee Dee because she really handles Paranormally Blonde on Facebook way more than I do. But so you can find us on all the socials. We're totally open to conversations, questions. even, if you have I'm having word loss, if you have a critique on us, we're open to hear those as well. Just talk to us. We'll talk back.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody, you make sure you check out my girls. These are my sisters too. They fit right into the Twisted Sisters. So
you guys fit right in. It was so nice meeting you guys.
Nice to meet you guys as well. So thank you so much, Beth. I appreciate it. And, hopefully.
Oh, we're going to do it again.
Yeah, your crowd has always been very supportive of Paranormally Blonde. We really do appreciate it. And, if you're interested in being a guest and taking a topic apart and even maybe going over some unpopular opinions on these topics, let's, reach out to us. We're always looking for new and exciting guests, and we'd love to meet you. So.
Yep. We've got some great supporters, Midnight Wolfpack. I mean, I've been blessed with a very large Para family that I love every single one of them. So we thank you guys for your support tonight. Don't forget Paranormally Blonde. You check them out. I love each and every one of y'all. Have a blessed night. And I got another show later tonight. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.